more accurately without guts. Okay? Part of the neck bone and most of the tailbone is still attached. Usually when you get a chicken, like if you buy a whole chicken at the store, most of the neck has been removed. In a wog, some of it still is there, okay? Because we need to use it for what we're going to do next. W-O-G, without guts, or without gizzards. Okay, so this way, don't have to worry about that. So this is what a real size chicken looks like. It is so small, but this is what they really look like in the wild. Okay, so think about the ones that you buy and how they're not
Big and fat.
real. Yeah. Okay, so what we need to do, can I have a whole bunch of paper towels, Stephanie? Okay, always watch out for if the bone separates, right? This little guy got broken in transport. It's going to make it hard to trust, which is what we're going to do. We start taking a look, making sure everything's fine. Right, clean up any loose ends, like any extra skin that we can get off, we should. Right? Say what?
I said poor chicken is 55.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't know it. Okay? So, go through. Right? This skin over here is like all kinds of messed up, so watch out for that. That means whoever broke it down wasn't like paying attention. See how this one's still nice and intact? This one's all kinds of shredded. Right? Here we have all kinds of interstitial fat. That can be a good thing, but especially when there's so much of it, we typically just take it off. Okay? Fat is flavor, but it also changes the way that it cooks. So we kind of clean it up just a little bit. Right? The skin's very, very loose on the back. Basically, we still have the tailbone. We still have part of the neck bone. Okay, the chickens you buy, typically they go in right above the vertebrae, right in this region, and then just pull the whole thing out. We're going to use this to our advantage. Okay? Can we hand me the butcher's one? Just the whole thing? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this guy aside. Okay? For this one, we always want to kind of dry our chickens. Right? See all that extra stuff coming off there? Because roasting is a dry technique, right? So we want it dry. Plus it will then hold on to the seasoning much better. We do still need to season our burger. Now we're not injecting this with anything, we're not going to do anything ridiculous. We are going to do something slightly advanced in that we're going to separate the skin from the body. Okay? So the skin is attached, but if we get up under here, we can literally just start peeling the skin away from the flesh. Right? That's how you get like a boneless, skinless breast or thighs or anything like that. All you got to do is get in here and start separating it. Right? So I can stick my whole hand up in there, pull the skin away. Right? Now the reason that you want to do this is I am going to put this compound butter under the skin, above the breast. That way when it melts into the flesh, and we get that really crispy skin because the fat will crisp it from the inside out. Okay? So we always do it on the breast. We typically do it on the leg if we can get our fingers up in there. Right? But we have to be careful because we don't want to change the shape of the bird any more than we need to accomplish this. Right? So, you go here in the back, and you'll feel it start ripping. Because that's literally you're ripping the skin away from the flesh. So, you'll feel it start to rip. Try to keep your fingers from going through it. Again, no fingernails, don't do this with a knife. Always just do it with your finger. So I know it seems really kind of aggressive and kind of rude, but trust me, it's worth it. You want all of that delicious, delicious flavor. Basically, I'm making a big pocket to put whatever flavor I want in there. Okay, that's what my compound butter is going to be for. It should be pretty great. Sorry? This one is just garlic, thyme, honey, black pepper, white pepper, salt, and that's it. Nice and easy. But obviously, compound butter can be anything you want, right? You can put wine or alcohol in it. You can do that all day and night. You could use any fat. Like if you wanted to render this chicken fat and then turn it into a solid, you certainly could. Now, we don't have to use a piping bag, right? We could just shove it in there with our hands, but of course, a piping bag gives us a little more control. We don't want too much, but we do want to get in there. Okay, then we got to kind of massage it around, even it out a little bit. Because what we don't want is for there to be so much fat that it just kind of boils on top of the product, right? We do want it to really break down into the product and work itself out. Okay, so back here in the love handles, go ahead and work that in. And you notice, like, I actually creamed my garlic when I cut it. There aren't huge chunks of it because then it would just stand up on top. And we still want to maintain a good, even shape on our burger. Why do we want our burger to be a nice, even shape? For cook seasoning, absolutely. Okay? All right, so now that that's done, we need to season. Will you hand me the black pepper from right there? Will you hand me the salt from right there? You just pour it on the way. On the here. Alicia, will you pour it out right here? Don't be. Not a lot, not a lot, not a lot. Okay, it's on. Oh, I can't even see it. Perfect. Okay. So, now that we've got this working, right, we've got our butter in there. Okay, we do need to season the outside. Always season high, that way it's nice and even. Kind of pat that into your flesh. The salt. Can I reuse the salt for anything else?
No.
No. Right, that's why it's on my cutting board. A lot of chefs want you to season on a plate. That way you can just kind of do this maneuver. Get all that seasoning with you. That way we're not wasting that seasoning. Okay? All right. Now comes the fun part. Trussing. We truss the bird so that this isn't going to bake very well. Right? All spread eagle like this. Okay, what we need to do is make it compact. We need to hold it all together. Because the breast is very, very tender. It has a likelihood to burn, and we're going to cook it on its back, breast side up. Okay? So, what we're going to do, I'm only removing my gloves so that it's easy to handle. Gene, okay, did I get you? Yeah. Welcome. A little bit of chicken fun on you. Okay, always take more twine than you think you'll need. Okay, and then what we do is we use this tailbone to our advantage right here. It's this little flap. Okay, get that under. Bring this up, okay, cross it over, and then just kind of let that fall. Hold on a second there.
That's why you leave the tailbone open.
That's, yes.
Okay.
And then you see if I let
I
it
was
fall,
wondering.
it loops right back around the legs, okay? I hold it up here, I let it fall down, it'll grab the legs and kind of the lasso. Does everybody back here see that before I turn around? Okay, so all I do is cross it, I let that fall, it'll grab onto the drumstick. Okay, I'm going to turn it on. Right? So, if I have it up here, and be patient because this is backwards now. Right? If I cross it, and then instead of fall down, I can grab on to the drumsticks. Right? So again, I pick it up, I cross it over, and then I just let that fall down. Okay? Make sure it's still around the tailbone, and I kind of cinch that up. Right? Now, if I want to put something in the cavity, I certainly can. Oranges, lemons, a whole bunch of alcohol, whatever. All right? I didn't because I don't think it's necessary with this small of a bird, but you certainly could. Now, with these arms, especially this one being broken, it's going to be a little tricky. But right here, we typically just kind of stick this up behind itself, right? Kind of like it's laying on the beach, right? Because the wings are going to cook super fast. Okay? So we just kind of tuck them up under like so. Okay? Right? So, wings, sit them back, relaxing, and we just tuck them under. Okay, but we still have to tie them in place, otherwise, there's a very good chance they're just going to pop right out. Okay? Now, I've seen chefs go all the way around the wing and like really hold it in place. It's typically not necessary, but if you want to, you can. That way you can guarantee, but you see when you pull too tight, the elbow pops right back out. Okay, so a lot of times, they have like special, very, very thorough twining techniques. I just tuck mine under, here to the end of the bird. So my knot is right here at the neck. Okay, that neck bone's a really good indicator. And then when we start tying, notice that your bird down on top of it, and it gets tangled up super fast. And of course, since we got this little gimpy guy, it's going to look different, but we use what we got. It's already dead, so what can we do? Now, when we get up here to the front, when we go to tie this, it really helps if you go through once, okay, through twice, and then through a third time. What that does is it'll kind of hold it in place for you, right? I can cinch it down and I can walk away and it's not going to start unraveling because there's too much circular tension on it, okay? Make sense? All right, so we go here, tie it up real nice, we go back, we try to make sure our skin looks good. Right, but this is much better than this. Big difference, right? Okay, it's all super compact. It's going to cook at relatively the same time. The wings, obviously the thinnest part, they're insulated, right? Our hip joints, which are the hardest part to cook, are exposed. The breast is going to be insulated from the skin, and this extra layer of fat I put in there will increase our seasoning just a little bit. And if I wanted to take this to 11, I can actually put very, very small breadcrumbs in here. And when those break down and cook, it turns like super, super caramelized. Okay? So here we have, right? We take these, cut them close, but not so close that they could unravel. So we typically go like an inch away. Do I keep this? No. Get rid of it because it's touched raw chicken. Okay? This we can just kind of leave right there. Will you hand me a half sheet pan and a roasting rack that fits the half sheet pan? So down on the bottom. Right? Because if I put this in a pan, what happens when it roasts it? All this fat goes into the pan and it just sits in its own fat. It's not roasting. Roasting is completely dry, where the fat drips away from it and we don't have to worry about it. Thank you very much. So we take this right there. Thank you. Chicken ready for the roast. Okay, now if I want to be like super, super ridiculous, right, now it's ready for a Food and Wine magazine photo shoot. It's that simple, right? Okay, so how is quality different as far as this? It's not. It's the same. We're just going to put it in something that we can put a lid on. Okay, so it's the same technique. Now the skin here already really separated. Okay, this chicken has been pretty abused. All right, so we're still going to go through. We're still going to separate it. Notice I didn't wash my hands because I went from raw chicken to raw chicken. Okay, so I'm okay. Now, if I were still wearing my gloves, what's the maximum amount of time I could be doing this with raw chickens before I needed to change?
4 hours.
4 hours, absolutely. Okay? Right. Okay, so I'm still separating the skin. I'm going to have to do what I can to kind of help insulate that breast. So you see there's plenty of skin to go around, but now it's not like it's soft. And you see the skin's pulled really thin, whereas here it's thick, so it's going to cook differently. So we have to be careful with that. Okay? So we go around and around. You can also see the hip starting to open up quite a bit. This probably got dropped during shipping, probably just got dropped and the hip just kind of split open, right? And when you cut that web, it just falls apart, right? So especially when you get those big Thanksgiving turkeys and people are like, I don't know where to start. Cut the webs, the whole thing just sprawls open, the breast, pull it right off. Super fast. Okay, the back, we saw our tailbone. You can still see very small little like pin feathers here, right? That's when you take your paper towel and you just pull them off. Right? Little pin feathers. Okay? So, when you have like a fresh turkey from the farm, it's a lot of work to get them ready. Okay? Again, we dry it, but you see it's picking up the seasoning off my cutting board, right? If I season like over the trash can, I'm basically throwing this away. I say use this technique, but you're going to run into plenty of chefs who are like, well, whatever, right? Okay, so, we get in here, we're separating the skin. So if I wanted to, I could literally pull the skin off the entire bird. But then it would be very, very hard to keep one shape. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Obviously, we're going to use less of it because the breast isn't as insulated, and I need to be able to move it around better. Okay? That just comes down to using good common sense, right? Right? So now, especially when we trust this one, we're gonna have to pay special attention to keeping it super tight. That way we can protect this part. Okay, so I might have to put a little belt on it, right? Now, hopefully I would never have to do that, but because it is ripped open right there, I might have to fasten it closed. Because this is an easy way to burn your flesh. Okay? You want crispy skin, not crispy flesh, right? But once again, back to your point. Okay, so down around the tailbone. Okay, loop it around the legs. Cross it, let it drop down around the legs. Pull it nice and tight. You have to get in here and start doctoring up the skin early. Okay, my bird, chilling at the beach. Just tuck it right under. So, sorry? Of course. Please enjoy it. Alright? 1, 2, 3. If we tie it up near this neck bone, the neck bone's going to help us out too. So, trust our bird. Nice and tight. Okay? Now, I'm going to start tucking the skin. And if I need to, like I said, I can run a belt around it, but I think I'm going to be okay. Because remember, there shouldn't be any huge change in like size. It's not going for a jog. It's not going to be moving around. As long as we get it pretty close, it should be able to hold itself shut during cooking. Now, what happens when things cook? They shrink. Okay, so the skin will shrink a little bit. There's not a lot we can do to stop that, but we can still season it. Right? Front and back. Now, will you hand me that thing? Perfect. What do we call that thing, Felicia? Anybody want to help her out? You can call it a brazier, but what do we actually call it in the kitchen? You just said no. Call it a rondo. Okay, we call it a rondo. Now, if I wanted to coat this one in oil, especially since it'll be in a closed space, I totally could. What I am going to do though is I'm going to throw a little fat down because I don't want it to like stick to the pot at any time. Usually when we do this, right, what we're going to do is we're going to have some vegetables on there. That way it'll help keep it off there. Okay, now I can put a cooling or a rack in here also. That way it drips away. It'll still be a moist environment because we're going to put a lid on it. Okay. So, any questions over trusting a chicken? Not right now, right? All right. Pardon me. Cutest little rat. Okay. So, there we go. When this one's ready, what we'll do is we'll get it going and then we'll just put a lid on it. If we don't have a lid, what can we use? Tinfoil, right? Yeah. Tinfoil right over it. No harm, no foul. Now we want to have a little bit of a gap between the birds, so hopefully you get something with a higher side. However, with what we got, no big deal. Okay? So no questions about that.
So when you're using foil, you just tint it?
I'm sorry?
When you're using foil instead of a lid, you tint the foil?
Mm-hmm. And you can just, it'll hold itself. And then it doesn't usually, I mean, there's a shiny side and a dull side. Yes. But since it'll be in an oven, we don't really care. Because it's not reflecting light at that point. Okay, so, we good?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Good. Speed real fast. Okay. Roasted vegetables. This chicken, because it's going to be covered, is going to go into a 375-degree oven. Uncovered for the first couple minutes, just so we get that fat going, then we'll cover it. Okay. The other chicken is going to go into a 400-degree oven. Uncovered. It's trussed better. It's tighter. It'll go very, very fast. Okay. All right. So, roasted veg. Okay, that little bit of char is a good thing. Okay, that's gonna be some flavor for sure. Now, how do we test if it's actually done?
See if it's not.
Okay, see if it's soft. See if it's cooked through. So. You have me a spoon of it?
That butternut squash is, it's sweet.
It is sweet.
It's not really good.
It is a sweet product. We use it for dessert a lot. When we do the vegetable desserts, that's usually the one we do.
Oh,
We just set it up. Thank you. Also, I don't wash my hands, so I don't want to touch too much. Okay? And when we're looking, we need to look for something slightly larger than the rest. Okay? So chances are I'm going to go for a tornado potato. Probably going to go for one that was in the bottom. What I'm really looking for is it easy to cut? If I can cut it with a plastic fork or a spoon,
It's still.
probably pretty good. Now I can tell you it is a little moist. Okay, like it's still a little moist. I'm going to throw it back in just so we get that extra caramelization on top. Super, super flavorful. So technically they're done, they're just not as done as I want them. Make sense? Okay,
Sure.
so throw this back in. Hand me that other side now. Of course. Silly dogs. Why you calling me over my food? Okay. So, any questions about roasting and poêlée? They're the same except for poêlée has a cover. Okay. So we start at the same. Once we get that liquid in there, then we'll cover it. I could have thrown this fat in there to render. Chances are it will also burn. Okay. So I've got to be very careful about that. Now, let's talk about sanitation.